Then we press record. I wait for stream manager. That says I am live right now. I sincerely hope that I am not muted. It doesn't seem like I'm muted. Awesome. Awesome. I'm going to just double check actually. I'm going to just over here. Double check that I am actually live over here. I am. Awesome. So, today I have some goals on my screen. Yesterday the goals were to see what I could do. But today I have more very specific goals today. So my goals today is to see what I can do with this input, because right now what I have, if I go to my engine, which basically the idea is I'm going to be creating an engine. I'm going to be taking that engine and making a game out of the things that I've made, and then releasing that thing onto Steam. What I have right now, because I have my controller, it should work. All I have is the ability to render something onto the screen, which is this A thing over here. And I have the ability to press a button on my controller and for it to go off all on my keyboard. That is what I have right now. But what I actually want to do as part of my engine is just to have a test scene in there, and I want to test all of this stuff. So right now I've only tested maybe these buttons over here. I want to test all this D-pad. I want to test how this stick works, all these buttons, and all the things on my actual keyboard itself. So that's what I want to do. And I want to do that visually on the screen with keyboards and with gamepads. So Kenny over here is a person that makes assets in games. All the assets they make are part of Creative Commons, and I'm going to be using some assets from them today. The assets I'm going to be using is probably this one over here, because it's got a whole bunch of, well, everything basically, all the keyboard inputs, a whole bunch of controller inputs. I reckon we just use this here, input it into the engine, and use that as a way to figure out whether or not I'm pressing the right buttons on my keyboard and my mouse. Use this as a way to figure out if I actually did my input correctly. Oh, he's even got fight stick. Is that fight sticks, or I don't know what that actually is. Maybe they're planning on using different colors here for that, different players perhaps. But yeah, I'm planning on using this image over here to deal with that there. If I go over to here, they do this in one big tile map over here. Now we currently, inside of our code, we only passed in the ability for it to give a texture and where we want that texture to actually be. What we haven't passed through this system yet is I want, if I go pull this into Photoshop over here, oh god, or rather it did not do that. Let's just do this via snipping tool, because it might be easier. What I haven't passed over yet is the ability for it to say, I want I don't know, this 3 and nothing more. I want the square that represents that. And the way you actually do that inside of here, well, if I go into this level and down to here, the way you would actually do that there is, if I go to draw, we make a texture 2D. We didn't have a texture 2D, but it doesn't really matter. Texture 2D T doesn't really matter. New vector is you actually pass into it a rectangle, I believe, at some point. Oh, right here. You pass into it a rectangle instead. And that rectangle will actually point to the actual location on the actual tile map. It would say, I want this location here at this size. And also what you can do as well is you can say, once you've actually got this size, so if I grab this here, once you've actually got this here, I want to actually render it. And if I do this here, I want to actually render it at, I don't know, this size over here. So you can actually manipulate it like that. Now I need to pass that through this whole system. But once I pass it through the whole system, it should all work. So yeah, that's what I need to do. Pass the whole system all the way through and go from there. So what do we have? From yesterday, what we ended up with were scenes. So we started with our engine scene over here. So this here is game 1. This is the way our game starts. It loads our content, it updates, and it starts to draw things. When it draws things, it actually goes through and creates a scene. And I had a basic scene that just drew a texture. Then I had a game input scene that I draw my A texture and my A pressed texture. And this here is where I say I pressed it or didn't press it. What I need to do, probably, is pass through the idea of that thing I said just. The idea of this whole rectangle thing here. So that way I can then use this properly, this tile map situation here. It's going to be very useful when I actually put tile maps in. And then I think what I need to do is I need to go through the entire system and map out and draw out a controller, draw out a keyboard, and go from there. So let's do the texture bit first so I can actually make it work. So first things first, let's import this image. So import images through this thing over here. It just serializes my images. And I serialized, last time I serialized this random image. That was my random, whatever it was. And this here was my A pressed image over here. But I want to be a bit more organized here. So I'm going to add a little folder in here. I'm going to call this little folder test images. So these are part of the test scene images. I'm going to make these part of the input test images. And inside of there, I'm going to add an existing item. And it has gone to a wild place inside of my system. That's fine. I can easily find this tile map. Now there's tile map packed and there's tile map unpacked. Let me just double check what these two are. Okay, yeah. So they do a little thing where they define the bits that repeat if you wanted to make the control and the space a bit longer. I want the packed version. That's fine. I can do that. And that's fine. Did that add it? Okay, there we go. And that's in there now. Okay, tile map packed. Okay. Now, what I forgot to do yesterday was save in here. So I'm going to do that now. And there we go, it's in there now. And it's over here. I don't know why it does not seem to add my things to my source control automatically, but whatever, we will deal with it. Okay, now it's in my source control. I want to go to my graphics thing over here. Actually, no, I don't. I want to figure out how this thing worked. So over here, we had that, when I was explaining this box over here, it could either draw a section of the tile map or it could like stretch. I want to know which one's which. before I start doing this and confusing the entire situation. T. Let's do this. I want to go into this. Whatever, just click into it. Give me an idea. Source rectangle. That's the one that I want. Is there a nice easy one for this? I need a nice easy one for this. Destination. There we go. See, destination rectangle. That is where it would... I think destination rectangle would be its stretching, and source rectangle would be the source on the actual tile map. Okay. That one there seems pretty small. Destination rectangle. Okay, so the one with only one rectangle on there is probably going to be the wrong one. That one is probably going to be, this is the location and this is how big to make it. So the one with only texture, rectangle, color, that's going to stretch it. It's not the one I want. Well, the one that I want is going to have them split up into two. That's fine then. Okay. I know what I'm looking for then. Okay. Let's get rid of this here then. So I'm passing around my graphics in like a little bunch of methods to make it a bit easier to manage. So we're going to pass around the idea of rendering. I'm going to pass it around in the idea of source and destination. And I'm going to add a little comment on this just so I remember. Draws the given texture to screen. And I'm going to actually comment with what the difference is between source and destination because I'm going to forget. So I believe the source means the source on the image itself. And the destination means how the image renders to the screen. So the source means this pink square. The destination means, if I grab this again, means, if I move this up, means this square here. God, grab it, please. Means this pink square over here at this size. That's what it actually means. It means that. So, source on the image, destination on the screen. And I'm going to pass that through. Just very simply. There we go. And we're just going to grab the same thing. Now, how does it do it? It does it with texture. It does it with destination first. And then it does it with source. It's fine. I don't really care. And by default, my color is just... No, stop it. By default, my color is just white, meaning that it doesn't actually tint it. Cool. Right, random texture. In here. I want to go into my content over here. I want to grab the keyboard, the key layout, copy the asset name, go back down into here, and I want to paste it into, let's just say into this texture over here. That's fine by me. We're going to break some code here, but that's just the way it's going to be. I'm going to say new rectangle right now. This first one is the source. So the new, wait, how do you make a rectangle? What's the first things in a rectangle? Does it go? Okay, it goes position. Okay. So if it's the source, then how is a split? If I go down to here, edit preferences, it looks like it's 16. Let's try 16. It's definitely not 16. Oh, this is not the right thing. This is a screenshot of it, of me zoomed in. There we go. Oh, it was 16. Okay, cool. So if I make this subdivisions 1, you can see that the lines go around. See? So subdivisions 1 means that this here is 16 pixels. One thing I need to keep in mind is when I start doing the alts and the shifts, they are more than 16 pixels big. But I'll deal with that. So let's just choose a random one. So let's just choose 16 by 3 and 16 by 2. And the size is going to be 16 by 16. And then the destination, we will choose, let's choose 32 by 32, and let's have it at the size it's meant to be. Comma there, please. And let's just see if that works. Let's see what happens, because it might do nothing now. I'm hoping what it'll do is it'll make one of the... Oh, okay. I'm hoping what it'll do is it'll make one of the images a little bit weird. So I'm going to move this here. What did it do? I don't know what that just did. That does not look like anything on there. In particular, does it? Okay. That just looks like a weird little image. Kind of looks like the controllers, I guess. Okay, let's put in 0, 0 into here. And the destination is that one. That's fine. See what 0, 0 comes up with. Maybe it multiplies this source. I don't know. Now it comes up with nothing. What is the... I don't know. Interesting. So... we're passing this in as source and destination. We flipped it because that's the way we want it to be. But that's fine. Let's just try something else. Or let's try the entire tile map. What is the entire tile map? 544384. Let's try that. That might actually work. Okay, that didn't do anything. So, do this. 384. So in theory, this here should just render the entire tile map. If this is how it... Oh, that's not on my screen. That's not like a little thing on my screen. It is just that small. You can't even see that on your screen. There is a very tiny... Oh my god. Here we go. Here we go. Oh my god. What on earth? Why can't I do anything in here? Oh, of course. There is a very, very tiny 2 pixels right here. That's what I saw. I'm going to flip these around just because. Oh, I know why. This is the source rectangle. This was how it was rendering. That's why. That's how it was rendering. It was rendering the entire tile map tiny. Am I right? Oh, we've been doing the wrong one. Well, it's a good start to the stream, isn't it? Yep, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to rename this to all keys. I'm not even going to use Ryder's rename for that. I don't deserve it. I don't deserve Ryder's rename for that. Okay. Let's see if this actually works now. This should actually work now. As long as this works, I'm happy. So that there should be a tile on our tile map. Is that the top tile map piece? Yes. Okay. Cool. Let's do this. I would like... Should we do the gamepad first? Seems like it's something we should do, probably. Yeah, sure. We'll do the gamepad first. So, for the gamepad, we will do... something like this, probably. Oh. We'll do that, but then we'll do render button A, maybe. And we'll do bool pressed. Now, where's button A on our tile map? So we will go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times 16. We'll go if pressed else that. And we'll go, imagine it's 8. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, it is indeed. Oh my god, I keep going back to nothing. Okay. And in our update, we will put that in there. To be fair, we could probably make this slightly... Okay. It's very small. I'm going to render that bigger. I'm going to make this slightly easier, actually. I'm going to make this... I'm going to make another method for this. It says... render button. Vector 2 position. Source position. Screen position. And let's just do something like this. That's fine, we can just do that. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's an int to a float. I'm sure you can deal with it. Do this here, it's going to be a little bit easier. Okay. There we go. Render button. Now all I have to say to this is new vector 8 times 16, 0. I probably want it to be about somewhere on the other side of the screen. So let's do 20 times 16 by 8 times 16. I'm going to change the size of it to, say, 48. I was also wrong. It's actually this one. Cool. And that should render bigger and in the place that we want it to be. Because now instead of, basically now we refactored the button. Okay, that's way bigger. It's maybe a bit too big. Maybe 24. It's big enough then. Try 24. Yeah, 24 looks all right. Doesn't look that big on your screen, but looks fine to me. Okay, location's a bit off. So let's nudge it along a bit. And down a little more. Bar location. I don't want to have to type this in twice, so we'll do that. And we nudged it off the entire face of the thing. Let's try that instead. A little bit more, but not too much more, I guess. I don't want to have to. I don't want to keep doing this too much. I don't want to be like a stickler for exactly where this button is on the screen. That's perfect for exactly where this button is on the controller. It's about there. I might move it slightly further back, but not by much. Just so that way then I'm not rearranging everything too much. Okay. I don't want to do too much in the updates. That's fine. So what I want is my bool here to be, let's have a see. Let's rename this. Render button A, render button B, X and Y. And we should have all of these inside of here. Cool. And we don't have all of these inside of here because I didn't actually have them all programmed yet. There is going to be a trend inside of all of these, but the location is going to be different, to be fair. So the location, the location could be different, but the rest of it's going to be a little bit the same, as it were, like where the actual rendering is going to be. So you'll see that now. Yeah, so B is going to be 5 and 9, 6 and 10, I think. Yep. And 7 and 11. Then Y, I'm going to want it to be higher. X, I'm going to want it to be pulled over a bit. Say 32, but not as high. And then I want the B button to be on that same level, but further over. And then this should all just do its thing. Oh, I didn't change the bool in here. Let's do that. 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 Okay. You don't want any logic inside of your draw, because you don't want it to need to do much of anything. Okay, that's like a perfect triangle. I mean, it works. It's a nice little perfect triangle. I'm happy with it, and for now, I'm happy with doing that as a test scene. For me, at least. For the idea that input actually does work onto these. Now, what I don't know how it actually works, and how I'm going to pass through into here. And what we'd like to try now I know that buttons definitely work, is the sticks. Because the sticks are a location. They're a vector. So I'd like to be able to see, okay, is it big numbers up or small numbers up? Is it negative numbers up? How does that actually work onto these? So when I go on to do gameplay, I sort of know what that actually is. And also, when I was doing it, so I actually have changed the code slightly from last time. I actually added a single gamepad thing over here. And inside that there, I actually mapped out all of the buttons so I could pass in a parameter to it. There's no D-pad inside of here. The D-pad is separate. So I'd also like to know how the D-pad works, because I have no idea. So let's do that. Let's figure out how the D-pad works. So as long as I can figure out those two things, I'm happy to then move on to like the next set of goals on this for now, and then revisit gamepad stuff. So let's go take a peek at this stuff. So inside of X input, let's just make a method. That would probably be vect2. That would be left, you get left stick state. Something like that, right? And it would get something from the thumbsticks. So the way that it seemed to work was something like this. You seem to have thumbsticks, and then you seem to have this vector onto it, which is just a location and two numbers, X and Y. But I have no idea it works. So we're going to find out. I'm going to find out right now. And what I want to find out is I want to find out with these guys down the bottom. So these guys down the bottom down here are, looks like thumbsticks and D-pads down here. I want to map these guys to my thumbstick. I don't think anything else on here. I guess actually there's also thumbsticks over here. They look a little bit broader. Or like... But yeah, look a bit broader to me. I want to map these guys, I think, to my thumbstick. So I know exactly which direction's what. Okay. So let's do that then. It's fine. I don't need the public. Game input servers, it's fine. I want to just return what I just made. This guy over here. Oh my god. Yeah, it's just boilerplate right now. I'm just passing through the ideas that I've just made up. Passing through the idea that I want to grab the vector all the way through the entire process. There we go. At some point, I'll make it so that you can have different players inside of the system, so you can actually have multiplayer maybe through the actual engine. And that's why I have the idea of a game input service and then single game pads. But for now, I don't care. So that's why right now, at this game input service level, I'm just getting whatever's on player one. So that's why there's a little bit of boilerplate between me doing something and me actually getting the actual answer out. But for now, I do not care. What I care about is do I understand it? So for that, what I need another private thing over here. I need the left stick state, I guess. And for that, I need to, I guess, get the state from the input service. Like that. Then I don't know. I don't want logic or too much logic inside of my draw method. This is a bit too much logic inside my draw method. So what I want is I want it to... okay, I know how to do this. Private vector. Swapped in the wrong vector, please. Left stick image. Let's decide the image before we actually let's decide the image before we do the draw. Because I don't want to do too much inside of there. So we're going to say here is, I guess, see, I think the way that it would work is it would say 0, 0 if it's nothing. So, what is 0, 0? God, what line are we on? What line are we on? 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, let's do this. Do this, this. Cool. Okay, let's do this piece by piece. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I think we're on row 19. We'll find out. Let's write that down somewhere. 19. Okay. We're on row 19, I think. Column 1. Is it square? It's not square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did I go 1? I did, didn't I? 0, 1, 2, 3, 6. I've messed up there. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Okay, 28. And that gets us to there. That little bit in that corner, I think. So with that in mind, if that's 1928, which it might not be, then 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Let's try it. Should probably just make this as a thing in the setup. Okay, whatever, we can just do new vectors. New vector 20, did I say 28? 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 times 16 by 28 should be that image. Then We're just going to draw the image. So we don't need anything fancy. We're just going to draw the image. This is the source. This here is the source. And the screen position, where the bloody hell do we want it? We would want it, I don't know, 5 by 16. That sounds like a reasonable position to me. Good enough for me. We want a comment or something there, probably a method or something to make that a bit easier. That's an I. Okay, how wrong were we? Oh, we went 28, not 28 times 16. I think we're on the right column, so that bodes well. I don't see it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did I go 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh, have I mixed these around? You have. Probably, possibly. 19 was the down. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So it's 20. I mix these round. Okay. $20, $21, $22, $23, $24, $25. $28, $29, $30, $31, $32, $33, $34. I mix them round. This is the down. This is the that way. Come on, please. Oh, what the frick is that? Is that a space bar? I don't know what that is. We're going to slowly make our way down. And hopefully we recognize them as we go. Looks like a C. Where's the C? Is it on the... Oh, the C is on the line. Here. Okay. So we're on the right line. You were close. C was definitely on the line. Okay, wait, that was it. That was almost it. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Cool. Okay, so by default, we're going to stick it to that middle image. Then, I think if the X, wait, do we only have, do we have diagonals of the other ones? We don't have diagonals of any of them, do we really? I'm thinking about diagonals, like how on earth do we do diagonals and all of this, but I don't think that's possible. Let's just do something like that. And so we'll say if the X is minus that, we'll go with the one before. I'm thinking a low X means it's going to the left. And I'm thinking a bigger X means it's going to the other way. Which would be 2 away. So 31, 30. Cool. Let's see. I'm thinking 0 is probably going to be too precise of a location. Okay, so it's always firing that direction. It's always firing that direction. It's like the dead zone's like not very good. Oh, no, it's not. Am I just an idiot? Potentially. Because it'd be 0, probably. Potentially. Yeah, cool. Cool. Now if I make this number here, let's go float dead zone. Let's do the dead zone like this. And then we keep going. And then make it Y. So what's the one that points up? It's the first one along, so it's 29. And it's 31, I think. It's the other one. No, points down rather, yep. I think that will work. I think. Okay, it's reversed. So this here is reversed. The Y is reversed. And does not have. Wait, it always points up? Y zone is less than. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this then. Maybe I should have just done this. Wait, does that make any difference? Potentially? No, it doesn't make a difference. So why is Y so garbage? My Y always points in a direction. Oh, now it doesn't. For some reason now it doesn't. Okay, whatever. Now it's just working. Yeah, it feels right from this point of view. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay. I want to take a look at the D-pad. I don't necessarily have to implement it, but I want to take a look at it. Just so I can see what it takes to implement it. If it's almost the same thing, I'm not too bad. Left button state. Okay. So it's button states, but it's done via a D-pad. So it's, I just need to implement it through, probably through the buttons again. I can do that. I'm happy. I'm fine with that. That's fine with that. I'm fine with that. Okay, awesome. I'm fine with that. We can tick that off my thing quite easily. Let's do that now. I'm classifying this as done. Awesome. Now, on my goals for today, I have the same thing for keyboard, but honestly, what I want to do is I want to have a sprite today. Oh, I pressed something on my keyboard. I want to have a sprite today. I want to have a sprite. I want to have the sprite moving about, and I want to have that sprite changing directions with the button presses, and in particular the button presses of my possibly the button presses of my thumbsticks or the keyboard. Now we know how to do that as well. So I think I should do that because I think that'll be an interesting thing to do. So we have our scenes over here. They are all called by a main scene, meaning I can just switch them out. And what I need is I need something. I need something that I can classify as an object in the world. So that way then I can manipulate it separately to everything else in the world. So I can have two objects clash with one another so I can have them interact. That's what I need right now. Then I can add an image to it. I can make that image move about with my movements, and then I can deal with the rest of the things on them goals like collisions and animations and all manner of things like that. Now at the moment, all scenes require a graphics service and a game input service that are passed all the way from the top all the way down. Give it the ability to draw to the screen, give it the ability to take input from my controller. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a game object that requires these as well, so it can draw itself, so it can take input, and then I can just do whatever I want with it, I think, and then go from there. So we're going to create a game object. Now I reckon there is already something called game object. If I call something game object, I reckon there's already something called game object inside of this, probably. So I'm going to call it a venture object instead. So I want this to be my own thing. But the interface can be called a game object. Because that's what it really is. It's a game object. Now I want this to have the ability to set up itself. So this is called once. When loaded. And I want it to update itself. Game time gives us the ability to know how long it's been between frames, so we can have animations be smooth. I want it to be able to draw itself. That's all it needs at this stage to be able to function. Then the actual, when we instantiate the actual thing over here, we will instantiate it with the things that we actually want it to have. Our graphics service, what was the other one called? Game input service, which is what we made last time, just to give it that ability to be a thing. And its job here is just to own these things as a reference. That's its only job. At some point, there'll be something below this point, which that will actually do a bunch of logic. But for now, I don't care. Oh my god! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop overcomplicating it. Name of this, please. So all I want to do is just pass all this stuff down. What? Oh. You did the wrong one first. There we go. Okay. There we go. Actually, what I'm going to do first, actually, is I'm going to commit this stuff, actually. Did it add... It did. Added test scene for key inputs. It's important to actually commit your things to source control, just in case you make a mistake, like I will continually. Okay, it's committed. Okay, awesome. So, update and draw. What I'm going to do here is I am going to go find a sprite, I guess. I need to get something I want to move about. It's a good point, actually. What am I going to use to actually move about? Let's have a see. Let's have a peek through some free stuff. I want something half decent. I also have my itch available as well, which has a whole bunch of stuff on it. I might also do that. That's a good idea. Let's just do that now. Let's grab my itch up. My library. Cool. Anything from here that might work. I did buy all of these bloody 8-bit stuff, to be fair. So I probably should use them. Or the Jamie Brownhill stuff probably would be nice. What's this one? Oh my god, would you search the actual thing for me? How do I go to the actual page? There you go, asset pack page. Okay, this one doesn't look too bad. As like a very basic way of just getting what I want. Let's do this one. So what do we get for this pack? We get resources, we get terrain, we get faction. The deco is just that. Vex is that. Factions, goblins, knights, troops, warrior. I guess blue. What does blue look like? It's a whole pack where there are animations of everything. There isn't really... Is there direction to this? We can flip the... There is direction because you flip the tiles around. Yeah, there is direction. This here is that and that direction. And then you flip the tiles around. It's just not very obvious that it's actually that direction. That's bizarre. It's very bizarre. It's very bizarre that they would do it that way. Let's do it with these 8-bit ones, perhaps. Or potentially these ones, actually. That's fine. Let's try these ones as well. I want to try find someone that actually has all 4 directions that I can actually animate. So that way then we can actually do it properly. I don't want to just test. I don't want to just test things that will just like test 2 directions. I want to test things in all the directions I possibly can. if possible. My god, that's got a lot of stuff in it. What was the other one? It was this one. Or they're just big things. Actually big things, to be fair. Okay. Bard, I guess. A GIF would be fine, but let's go with that. Okay, this one looks promising. I think this one's probably the best one to go with because it's individual tile maps that we can just select from. Yep, individual maps you can just select from. And that seems like they're walking to me. Wait, there should be a GIF for walking. Okay, so it should look like they're walking in all four directions. They have Bard, Cleric, Paladin, and I have a whole bunch of these ones that do this. Okay. Let's go with these then. And let's import these guys. And go over to here. Test images, add. Sprite animator. Let's just call it Bard. Add existing item. And then let's just grab this folder. And then let's just add all of those. There we go. They've all added in. Cool. That should do us. So the setup here is going to be graphic service, try get texture, and the texture we're going to try to get is going to be walk. I want to try to lower the texture as soon as possible. And the out is going to be my new texture. Hard walking. Awesome. Then we're going to say what are we going to say? It's a good point actually. Let's look at this tile map over here. So the same thing again. This looks like a 48 or a 64 to me. It's not a 48. It's a 32 then. 32. So the 32 by 32. It's much easier when it's small. So let's do this here. So we'll do texture. We'll do private vector 2 render source render for now. Just in case this happens after, it's just in case the update happens before the draw. Make sure it actually is actually made first. And I will say, if Game input service, keyboard input service, key is down, keys, W, or this game input service, gamepad input service, left stick state, Y, Y, Well, what was our conclusion from this scene? When the Y is less than the dead zone, when the Y is less than the dead zone, we move up. When it's less than 0.3, when it's greater than the dead zone, 0.3. So when it's high, when it's a big number, when it's greater than 0.3. Otherwise known as push up. But yeah, we'll go with that. And then we will change the source vendor to wait, there's two ways to go here. Left, right, and up and to the right and down into the... Is that the way that works? I'm confused. Oh, it's almost like it's on diagonals and not on like a flat plane. How strange. Okay. We'll do something like this then. Yeah, you're right there. We can just do this. And we don't need that. Okay. Yeah, but there is also is moving down being like a... It's moving down, I guess, as the default, I guess. It's moving down is definitely the default. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Is moving down is definitely going to be the default. You've got to have a default direction. Yeah, you do. Is moving left. And I think that was this. I'm pretty sure. So then we say if is moving up and is moving left. Then we set the Y to 32 times 1. Really, we can make this so much better. We can make that so much better, but either way, I'll leave it at that for now. There's a way to make this so much easier. But for now, we'll do it this way. But it's not moving up, but is moving left. Is 2. And neither is 3. And then we'll leave the except 0 for now, and we just draw it. So let's draw it. This texture, hard walking, no rectangle. So this is the source, this source render. Yep. 32 by 32. Nice and easy. A new rectangle. Where do we want it on the screen? Well, let's go 32 times 8. And I want it to be rendered at double resolution. Let's go with that. Now, to actually get this onto the screen, I want to make a new scene. I'll call this a game object driven scene. And we're going to take over from this scene. And the reason being that I want to have the ability to go back to that other one where we test the game, where we test the game inputs. But I also want a scene that now is always going to be driven by the game objects that we input into it. And at some point, how those game objects are going to be put into it is via data. So we're going to have a tool that actually inputs these game objects actually into it. And that'll be a tool like Unity, where you would actually make these game objects and you would say, these are my game objects, this is how I do it. So this is a scene here. We don't need any of this stuff. What we do instead is we say this, we have a collection of, at the moment we have a game object, but we'll probably make it a, let's just make it a list of game objects for now. We'll probably make it something else later. And we'll just say new venture. We'll do this second actually. We'll do this in a separate line. Right, this graphic service, this service. We'll say for each. Setup. For each update. And the reason why we're doing it this way is what the scene will actually do at some point, is it will actually manage the idea of things being on top of one another, the idea of management, the idea of things being, the idea of control, collisions, destroying. So a game object can't really destroy itself, but it can call for itself to be destroyed. The thing that will be destroying it would be something at this level. So above itself. That's sort of the reason why you have to do this way. So now this is just going to make this venture object over here, which is just our generic way of making this work. And I'm going to exchange our game input testing for the one we just made for one that now uses a game object, and eventually a game object will be any game object. It's the start. Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay, so it's flipped. So at the moment it's flipped. It's sort of flipped. It's the wrong way around. Up and down works, but it is definitely flipped. Let's see. If I go into my object over here, if I flip this around, oh, that's wrong. Okay, whatever. Don't care about that. I need it to be less than that. There we go. Oh wait, I think Y was actually correct. I think it was. Yeah, Y was actually correct. I think it was X that was not correct. Let's have a see. I think it was Y that was not correct. X was not correct. Right, okay, so here's the thing. Moving up defaults to me pushing up. So I guess this is wrong here, really. We need to really do key S here. And this, and rename this to moving down. Because it's sort of, that's what it really sort of is. It's still the default though. It still requires you to actually press it. The default is still, I need to press this button. There is another way around that. And the way around that there is to have an enum that says direction. You say this is the previous direction, and then you just change the direction. So as you move around the scene, you change the direction that you're actually walking in instead, so that it's not as jarring when you move around. Because right now what happens is when I move down and up and let go, it locks to whatever it was previously. So what you say there is you do something else. So what I would probably end up doing there is having something like something in here called game elements, something like that. Probably I have something like a character controller But I'd probably end up sticking something in there which would like allow you to like move around the character a bit easier. And in here we would have character direction, let's call it. I just want to call it Venture Engine at this point. Up, down, left, right. Then inside of here, we would assign these out instead. So we would say something like this here is if is moving now. If we are moving now, current direction, which we're going to set by default to down. So if we are looking down, we would say that if this current direction equals up, let's actually make a alternative to this one. So we're sort of doing let's do a diagonal direction for this. Down, right, up, left, up, right. I guess we could mix them up with these two. Yeah, we could do current Y direction. I'm thinking we could do Y direction, X direction. Yeah, we could say if current Y direction equals up, then current Y direction equals down, and then we flip it. But vitally, the flipping it requires you to actually press a button. So the threshold for the dead zone is still 0.3. Or you have to press a key on the keyboard. So all of these here all actually require you to actually press a button on the actual keyboard still. Or controller. Like this. So we do this here. A. For some reason I've forgotten what we're doing here. X. I don't know if that's right. D. We'll go left, right, and we'll just see if these are right. These might not be right, but we'll go with it. There we go. And now we change these here with these here. It also reads better. So enums actually also read a little better. Current X direction equals up. Current X direction equals down. So there is also that as well. There's a little bit of room for me messing up though, as per usual. Okay. Hopefully that works out. I've got an error up here. I need to set the default for these. So we'll go down and right by default. I have no idea if this is the right direction because I have no idea the directions of these things. Left and right is off, and I cannot set left and right whilst looking down. So whilst looking down, I cannot set left and right. Interesting. So let's just amend that for a sec. Switch those around. No, that's wrong anyway, because what is wrong is probably my stick. So let's just flip the sticks around. No. Yeah, probably need to also flip this. There we go. Okay. Now, for some reason, I cannot flip direction when I'm facing down, which is curious. But I can when I'm facing downwards. How curious. It's definitely right. Y, down, down, up, up. X, 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 left, right, left, right. Why can't I flip them around when I'm facing down? That is a doozy. Okay, so I think the easiest way of doing this here would be to take away my up direction. See if it works. Ever take away the up direction, see if it works, go from there. It does not, meaning this here probably does not work. Let's debug this. Let's just get into here and debug this. I would like to be able to use test-driven development here, but you kind of can't at this level, unfortunately. Continue. Okay, so it never gets into left. No, but she's facing right. Wait, did I get that Y wrong? You did not. Okay. We can get into these. And that one then gets into there. And somehow you still don't draw it. Oh, this draws this source renderer. But no, it's just fine. It's just the right one. Just the actual thing to always draw. It's always based on current direction. Why then? I do wonder why. Where did I mess up here? I must have messed up somewhere. I know we do. We debug it. We debug there and we debug there. And we just see. We'll see. We'll make it work. I know we will. So. This one here is now left. Left should be this one over here. Which it now is. Okay. Oh no, you're an idiot. What's 32 times 1, Scott? That one faces right. That one faces left. Left is 32 times 2. 32 times 1 is 32. Why were you doing that? Also, I don't know why you're testing current direction in there. You may as well just leave it. Yeah, it'll work now. Well, oh, I can't. No, 32 times 1 is... Oh, this one should be 0. I think. Wait. Right should be 0. That's why. Yeah, okay. But this here does need to be... you don't actually care. Just assigning it's fine. There we go. Yeah, it's just a bit of a numpty with the fact that everything counts from 0. Okay, I have my character. It's not very big, but I can make it render much larger. So you can see it. Oh. Oh, you did that wrong place. That'd be here then, wouldn't it? 128. In here. Okay. All based upon this. All based upon my... keyboard. Cool. I have a sprite now that reacts to button presses. Calling this one done. I am somewhat calling this one done. At least for now. I can think about doing collisions, but I would like to think about movement, I think, before collisions. Because I can't really do collisions without moving objects into one another. Also, there's animations to think about as well. How I manage animations with all this stuff. I think what I end up doing there is probably reassessing sprites and making a sprites thing, because this here is handling these textures this way is an absolute nightmare. It really is an absolute nightmare to handle these textures in this way and to do it with these renderers like this back and forth. It'd be much easier if it were sprites that I could split up once and pass about instead, and just say this is the size of it, split it. I want this tile of this one over here, render it, go. So I think that's what I would make next is basically a sprite as an actual concept to give into everything, and go from there. I think. But yeah, as an engine, this is starting to shape up to be something. I think it's not too difficult to get working either, if you know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing. Gonna take a drink of water 1 sec. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to commit what I just did. Source control. So that, oh, did it add everything? It did. Cool. May assemble a game object with directional movement. Cool. Let's go with that. So, with that in mind, I'm going to make something inside of engine services, or let's make engine element. Could be an engine element. Call it graphical, and let's make a sprite. Let's make a sprite. So a sprite has the ability to have a texture. Maybe we don't necessarily need it to have a texture, actually. We'll make it... I know what we'll do. We'll make it be able to draw. Sprite needs to be able to draw itself. So, void draw. And it already has a texture inside of it. The most basic draw is location, whatever it's going to draw, but it should also be able to draw rectangle, screen, location, something like that. But I don't think we can do that because we need destination, all that kind of stuff, but maybe we can do that. And then draw rectangle source, rectangle destination, screen, location, destination, like that. No. Well, yes, we can do that quite easily. That's not difficult to do. But I would also want the ability to take that one step further. And all this here. I'd want a sprite that we can split. So I want the ability to void split sprite. Split sprite evenly. Well, that's width, height. It's always going to be the same, isn't it? Then you can draw cell. Call it, yeah, draw tile. Let's say. And the tile you want to draw can be these vectors floats. Yeah. X, Y, location. And then you can also draw the tile int x, int y, vector 2, location, maybe where to put it on the screen, where to, the size to do it as well. So here we would change this here to rectangle and do screen location. Because there's already the source there. Because you're showing it the width and the height above. Now you're saying which one of those ones you want to draw. Would that make what you're doing easier or harder? I think it'd make it easier. We could probably add some naming in there at some point, at some stage. But I think at this level, it probably would make it easier. So I think we would go with it. We could add that as a sprite. And we could probably then eventually add some X and distance and gubbins and things. So this here should not be too difficult to do. So all we do is you say public sprite. And we'll just give it the same thing we gave this thing over here, this graphical service. And we have that be the thing we use. And then we have... How does it load up the thing? Texture 2D location. Like that. We could add another constructors later, other constructors later on, I suppose. It's not like it's the only one in the world. Throw a new argument, null exception, name of that. And the same there. What we'll do here is we'll say this graphic service, try get texture from content. This out text 2D, and we'll get out the text 2D. But then if it fails, we'll throw an exception. Texture not found. Type of this. Jobs are good. There we go. So, the rest of the stuff in here is going to be pretty easy to actually code into here. Hello, Sassy. Are you my one viewer, I assume? I do have a thing to bring up my actual chat on here, but I have hidden it away for now. How are we anyway? This graphic service, draw texture, this texture 2D, we can just grab in the location and just call it data. Right, yeah, I thought as much. And then here, did we just, so we have source, rectangle, destination. Can we even do this one? I don't know if we can even do this one. So, is it even possible for us to get the size of this thing? I don't think it is. That is tricky. That is a tricky one. I don't think it's possible for us to get the size of it. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I can show you my progress if you want. If I actually just make my code compile again, I can show you my progress. Does that make my code compile? Oh, it won't, will it? Because that. Now I compile. And now if I press play, it should compile. And here we go. So it should. So I got a character moving around by my direction. So I can press each button. And I can do that on the keyboard. That is the progress thus far. I did also check to see that I have mapped my game inputs, my keyboard, mouse, my keyboard and controller up correctly as well. So yeah, so sorry about that. Yeah, so I also added in the game inputs into there as well. So you can actually view the inputs from the actual controller. That was a thing I did today as well, as part of my actual thing. So this here was also a thing that I did today. So yeah, those two things. A sprite that looked around and game inputs from my controller. Those are the two things that I added today. Okay. We can get rid of these, to be fair. Go with the implementation above. And I don't think this here is possible with what I passed through, so I'm going to get rid of it. So I don't think it's actually possible to have. And we're just going to use this one for now. Which way around did it go? Source first. Cool. And then here we get to the sort of interesting ones at the bottom. The ones that are actually going to save me some time. So what I would like is I would like a bool that says I have successfully split the tile set true means the sprite. And with that in mind, I'm going to say this here. I'm going to say this width and height. Split width and height in here. I will do, Sassy, I will do. Yes, we'll be over pretty soon, to be fair. Because we're reaching sort of the end point of what I can do without a bit of research anyway, I think. This graphic service. We want to draw a texture now. Using this stuff. So one thing I want to do here is I want to say if this, then throw an exception. Please split the sprite first. There we go. Then we can then do a new rectangle, and this new rectangle here is the source. Yes, it's the source, and it starts with the location, which is what we already got. Then we go on to this width, split width and height, which is fine. We have that. Then we go into new rectangle. This is the destination. Oh, the destination only has location on there. Oh, well, we're going to use the same one if they give us that. So we're going to use location. We're going to use int location x, int location y, and we're going to use this split width. This split width. And then over here, we're going to just give him the entire thing. So now, in my actual thing over here, I should be able to make it a little bit easier. Although, to be fair, it wasn't too difficult, but... that there is a point, actually. I was trying to draw the tile. This tile here should be this times this. I'm trying to make it easier for myself by not having to think about things. And that makes it a bit easier. So let's do that. Okay. That actually does make it easier. As a refactoring step there. So now we're going to do private iSprite, bard sprite. And then up here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to say this bard sprite equals new sprite. This graphics service. This here. And then it can deal with the rest of this garbage. And it can deal with this garbage. And then when I want to draw it, I want to draw a cell. Oh, we call it tile, we call it cell. And we called it, based upon the int x and the int y and the screen location and all that jargon. So this here is not going to change over here. What is going to change is this and this. And we're just going to split it by 32. Split evenly, 32. And this here is going to be 1, 2, 3. Now, there's going to be no difference, but it's just it's going to be way easier to manage a multi-tile set situation. When all I have to think about is it won't. Oh, I didn't switch that back. Venture inputs game object scene. So hopefully this works again. It did not. Value cannot be null parameter texture. Cool. That's probably because this here. Oh, you dummy. There we go. I declared a new one. That's why. I declared a new one. Okay. Now it works. And it works without us having to deal with a bunch of garbage that we didn't really need to worry about too much. We still shouldn't really have to worry too much about this garbage. Like how big to render it necessarily. We should be able to say to the sprite it's this big. This is the size of our image. Which I think we can say to it. I'm pretty sure we can say that to this. Pretty sure inside of somewhere. Possibly in content actually. So wait, inside of T, can I say the size of it? Ah, the texture has a width. Ah. It has a width, so I could have done that source one. So we can just do scaling and things. Okay. There's something else I want to do there then. So We can add scaling into that texture thing, so that's fine. What we also want to do... Wait, this doesn't have everything. Is there another one of these? Yeah, this one does. Is that I noticed that it's quite blurry. I want to make it less blurry. It's definitely a texture. Raise to the power of. Raise to the power of 2, false. Make square. Texture format color. I don't know, maybe. Maybe that's the difference. I was actually making it twice the size when I was making it do things, so maybe that's the difference. Maybe when I make... Nope. That's still a blurry image. Still a blurry image. Not sure. MIPS, perhaps. We'll try MIPS. If not, I'm going to do some research and I'm going to stick that on my Git issues to figure out why I've got blurry textures when I make them even slightly bigger and have to make pixelated textures. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So we're going to make an issue for that. So, in order not to forget things, you add issues. You add issues into your GitHub repository or whatever you want to store them, Jira or whatever. And you make things, you make notes to yourself to make sure you don't forget things, especially bugs. Figure out why images are blurry. Your images, especially when made bigger, are blurry. Figure out why, and if there is a way to scale them. There might not be. There might not be a way to actually scale your images, but we'll figure that out. We will figure that one out, I am sure. Okie dokie. Oh god, what did I press? I pressed F11. I have no idea what F11 does. Oh god, F11 starts debugging my game. Let's not press F11 again. Okay. Can you get off this now? Okay, I'm off. Okay. Let us review then. We have created a scene where we can input our game controls. We've created a scene where we can move and manipulate a sprite, and a very basic way of splitting up our sprite into nice little tiles, a la this sort of way over here, into nice little sprites. And we are pretty confident that we can use the game input pads and the keyboard for input and go from there. Next time, I would like to do this a little bit more properly, in that I would like to add movement and animations and potentially collision. Collision's not easy when it comes to circle and square colliding on another, but I would like to give it a go. So that is next time. Movement and potentially movement, animations, and potentially collisions. There'll be a bigger span of time between streams potentially as well, which will give me time to clean things up, plan things out, and figure out what I'm going to be doing as well. So there we go. Thank you very much, and I will catch you next time.